In a small industrial city in Hubei Province, China, a boy named He Xiaopeng grew up watching the world change from a distance. Huangshi was not Shenzhen, it was not Shanghai. It had no tech campuses, no venture capitalists, no Silicon Valley dreams drifting through the air. It was a city built on steel and coal, where ambition was considered a luxury most families could not afford. What it had was a boy who was obsessed with computers and a burning, relentless need to build something that mattered. He studied computer science at South China University of Technology, graduated in 1999, and did what most ambitious young engineers did. He found a job at Asia Info Technologies, learned the craft across roles as technology manager, testing manager, and project manager, and watched the internet slowly change the world around him. He understood, earlier than most, that the biggest shift in human history was not happening in factories or boardrooms. It was happening on screens, small screens, carried in pockets, held in hands, owned by people who had never had access to anything before. In 2004, he co-founded UC Web with his partner Liang Jie. The idea was almost embarrassingly simple. Build a mobile browser that actually worked. At the time, that was a radical proposition. China's mobile networks were unreliable. Handsets were basic. Data was expensive. Most mobile browsers consumed so much bandwidth that loading a single web page felt like filling a bathtub with a teaspoon. But He Xiaopeng and his team built a browser that compressed web pages aggressively, reduced data consumption dramatically, and made the mobile internet actually usable for hundreds of millions of ordinary people. The UC browser did not just succeed in China. It went global. It topped the mobile browser charts in Indonesia. It outpaced Opera in India, becoming the #1 mobile browser in a country of more than 1 billion people. It spread across Southeast Asia and into Africa. He Xiaopeng had not simply built a product. He had built the on-ramp that allowed the next billion people to access the internet for the first time. Then in June of 2014, Alibaba, the most powerful internet company in China, came with an offer that could not be refused. The deal was confirmed as the largest acquisition in the entire history of the Chinese internet, larger than Baidu's purchase of 91 Wireless, larger than any deal the sector had ever seen. He Xiaopeng became a billionaire in a single morning. He was named president of the Alibaba Mobile Business Group, one of the most powerful positions in Chinese technology. He had access, prestige, resources, and a security that most people spend their entire lives chasing. He spent 3 years inside Alibaba, 3 years of learning how a giant thinks, how scale works, how the machinery of a $100 billion company operates. And then, in August of 2017, he announced his resignation from every position he held at Alibaba. He walked away from it all and headed straight toward the most uncertain bet of his life. If you're new here, subscribe now and hit the bell. Documentaries like this one drop every week, and you don't want to miss them. In 2017, He Xiaopeng made a decision that most people in his position would never dare make. He left one of the most powerful companies in Asia to become the chairman of a small electric vehicle startup that he had not even founded himself. He had been an early backer of XPeng Motors. The company had been started in 2014 by 2 former automotive engineers from GAC Group, Xia Heng and He Tao, men who understood cars in a way that He Xiaopeng did not. But He Xiaopeng saw something in it that the automotive world had not yet grasped. He saw not a car company, but a software company on wheels. His bet was philosophical before it was commercial. He believed that the electric vehicle of the future would not be defined by its battery range or its motor torque. It would be defined by its intelligence, by how well it could see the road, predict danger, update itself overnight, and improve through every kilometer driven by every customer. He had spent his career building software that gave access to people who had none. Now he wanted to build software that moved people who were ready for something completely new. XPeng grew fast, almost dangerously fast. The G3 SUV launched in 2018. The P7 sports sedan followed in 2020. A car so beautiful and so technically aggressive that automotive journalists worldwide drew direct comparisons to Tesla's Model S at half the price. XPeng went public on the New York Stock Exchange in August of 2020. The stock soared. He Xiaopeng became one of the most watched technology entrepreneurs in the world. The company was worth billions. Everything looked perfect, and then everything fell apart. 2022 arrived like a hammer. The company had been hiring at extraordinary speed, growing from fewer than 4,000 employees in mid-2020 to nearly 14,000 by mid-2022, almost doubling in headcount every single year. The management structures had not kept pace. Internal decision-making became slow. The sales organization developed a dysfunctional culture. Supply chain management was fragile. And then came the product that was supposed to be XPeng's moment of arrival, the G9 SUV. It launched in September of 2022, priced between 309,000 and 469,000 yuan, in a configuration sheet so complex, so confusing, and so poorly communicated that customers simply did not know what they were buying. XPeng had publicly set a target of 35,000 G9 deliveries by the end of the year. It delivered fewer than 6,200. The stock had already been falling for months. Now it collapsed. From its peak, XPeng's share price dropped more than 90%. The man who had been celebrated at dinner parties as a visionary was now, by his own admission, the friend who made everyone at the table uncomfortable. "Now, when I had dinner with friends last year," he said publicly, "I was everyone's hope. This year, everyone has suffered from enormous pressure." He stood in front of journalists in Guangzhou on his 45th birthday and did not make excuses. He did not blame the market or the economy or the competition. He admitted the truth. XPeng had grown too fast, lost focus, and created its own crisis. He announced the largest organizational restructuring in the company's history. Entire business units were reformed. Decision-making was centralized around him directly. And then he made the move that ultimately defined him as a leader. When most founders in crisis mode retreat and hire consultants to manage the optics, He Xiaopeng went outside the company and recruited Wang Fengying, one of the most respected automotive executives in all of China, former president of Great Wall Motor, a woman who had spent her career building mass-market vehicles for millions of Chinese families. He did not hire her to replace his vision. He hired her to make his vision actually work at scale. He hired someone who knew things he did not know and had the humility to put her in a position of real authority. Then in July of 2023, the phone rang. And this time, it was not a creditor or a board member or an anxious investor. It was Volkswagen, the most storied automotive brand in European history. They had looked at every electric vehicle startup in the world. They had seen the technology from every corner of the industry. And they chose XPeng. They wrote a check for $700 million, nearly 5% of the entire company. An endorsement of He Xiaopeng's software platform, his autonomous driving architecture, and his belief that the automobile's future belonged to whoever owned the intelligence layer. The Germans had sent a message to the entire industry. The man who just survived the worst year of his professional life was building something worth betting on. The comeback had begun. In August of 2024, He Xiaopeng took the stage to launch a car that nobody expected from XPeng. Not a flagship, not a halo product designed to impress shareholders, not a luxury statement aimed at wealthy early adopters. The Mauna M03 was priced starting at just 119,800 yuan, roughly $16,800 at the time of launch, half the price of a Tesla Model 3, less than the cost of many entry-level petrol vehicles in the same class, and built into it was the most advanced autonomous driving system ever offered at that price point. The full XNGP system, XPeng's end-to-end AI driving platform, capable of navigating virtually all public roads in China without high-definition maps, available to a family that had never before been able to afford this kind of technology. He Xiaopeng stood on that stage and made 3 predictions. He said that only 7 mainstream Chinese car brands would survive the decade. He said that XPeng would one day sell 1 million AI-powered vehicles per year. And he said that half of all XPeng sales would eventually come from markets outside China. He was not reading from a script written by a marketing team. He was telling the world how he saw the future. And he had earned the right to do it. The market responded before he had even finished speaking. Within 7 months of the Mona M03's launch, 100,000 units had rolled off the production line. The fastest production milestone in the history of any battery electric vehicle launched by a new Chinese automaker. Monthly deliveries held consistently above 14,000 units throughout 2025. By the end of that year, the Mona M03 had delivered 175,000 units in China alone. The car that nobody expected became the car that rescued a company, and the car that proved He Xiaopeng's founding thesis was correct all along. Intelligence in a vehicle has no ceiling and no geographic border. By the end of 2025, XPeng had delivered 429,000 vehicles, a 126% increase over the previous year. The company had expanded to 60 countries across every inhabited continent. The man whose stock had fallen 90% in 2022 was now the 6th largest electric vehicle manufacturer in the world, with an AI driving system that processed visual inputs and generated steering commands in a single computational step. No sequential pipeline, no HD maps required, no dependency on infrastructure that most of the world did not have. Mercedes was watching. Toyota was watching. Every automotive executive who had once dismissed Chinese electric vehicles as cheap imitations was now studying XPeng's quarterly reports with a different kind of attention. When He Xiaopeng decided that XPeng would go global, he did not start with the easy markets. He went to Germany, not to Paris, not to Amsterdam, not to a country with softer competition and lower expectations. He went to Munich, the city where BMW was born, where Mercedes engineering was worshipped, where automotive pride ran so deep that locals could identify a car's engine note the way a musician identifies a key. He walked into the IAA Mobility Show in September of 2023 and announced that XPeng was entering the German market in 2024 with the P7 sports sedan and the G9 SUV. The message was deliberate. If you can sell a Chinese electric vehicle in Germany, you can sell it anywhere in the world. The Volkswagen partnership gave XPeng a credibility inside Europe that no Chinese brand had ever previously enjoyed. Volkswagen did not merely invest. The two companies began jointly developing new electric vehicle models for the Chinese market, co-developing electronic architecture, sharing procurement processes. Volkswagen executives estimated that the partnership could reduce their vehicle development time by more than 30%. It was not a charity check. It was a structural admission that XPeng had built something Volkswagen needed. By 2025, XPeng had opened its first European research and development center in Munich, not in a quiet suburb, in the city. In the heart of the German automotive establishment, the center was designed to deepen local understanding of European drivers, accelerate local innovation, and give XPeng's engineers direct contact with the market they were determined to win. In 2026, He Xiaopeng announced that XPeng was actively searching for a European manufacturing site, not to save on shipping costs, but to establish a permanent local presence capable of producing vehicles for a global supply chain. Independent supply chain teams were established in Europe and across Southeast Asia, completing what He Xiaopeng called the localization loop: production, research and development, service, data, and now supply chain, all operating locally, for local markets. The overseas delivery numbers told the story without any need for interpretation. In 2025, XPeng shipped 45,000 vehicles internationally, a 96% increase year over year. Europe was leading the mid to high-end battery electric segment among all Chinese brands operating in the region. He Xiaopeng stood in Munich and addressed European automotive executives with the kind of calm confidence that comes only from someone who has already been through the fire and survived it. He told them plainly, study why so many manufacturers have failed in the Chinese market. Not as a threat, as advice. From someone who had watched the world's most competitive automotive battleground for a decade and understood it at a fundamental level. What separates the companies that endure from the companies that disappear? The Europeans had once dismissed Chinese cars as cheap copies. Now they were buying a stake in one and opening the door for He Xiaopeng to build his factory on their soil. While the world was focused on XPeng's recovery on the ground, He Xiaopeng was quietly building something above it, and something that had never existed before. AeroHT, the aerospace subsidiary of XPeng, had been developing flying vehicles for years before anyone in the Western automotive press was paying attention. In October of 2022, while the G9 crisis was consuming headlines on the ground, the X2 made its first public crewed flight above the skyline of Dubai. A two-seater electric vertical takeoff and landing aircraft lifted by 8 propellers, equipped with autonomous landing capability, an emergency ballistic parachute, real-time omnidirectional cameras, and full system redundancy built in at every layer of control. It flew above one of the most futuristic skylines in the world, and it flew without incident in front of an audience that understood immediately what they were watching. That was only the beginning. At the Consumer Electronics Show in January of 2025, the most watched technology stage in the world, where companies come to announce the future they intend to build. AeroHT unveiled something that stopped the show: the land aircraft carrier. The concept sounds like it was written by a science fiction author with an engineering degree. It is a full-size electric minivan. Stored inside that minivan, folded into the rear cargo area, sits a complete eVTOL flying vehicle. On a single voice command, the aircraft detaches from the van, unfolds its rotor arms, rolls itself out onto flat ground, and launches vertically into the air. When the flight is complete, it descends, reconnects to the van, folds its arms back into the stored position, and slides itself back inside. The mothership drives away, carrying its flying vehicle on its back, ready for the next destination. This was not a concept model. The land aircraft carrier had already received its type certification, the regulatory confirmation that it meets all legal requirements to enter production. It had completed its first public crewed flight demonstration. 3,000 intent orders had already been placed before it was even available to purchase. Pricing was confirmed below $300,000. AeroHT's Guangzhou manufacturing facility commenced trial production in November of 2025. The world's first modern assembly line dedicated entirely to flying cars, with a planned annual capacity of more than 10,000 units. A figure designed to surpass the combined output of every other eVTOL manufacturer on the planet. In October of 2025, the land aircraft carrier made its inaugural flight in Dubai, the same city where the X2 had first flown 3 years earlier, closing a circle that He Xiaopeng had been quietly drawing since the darkest days of the company's history. But He Xiaopeng was not building only in the sky. At the same AI Day event held in Guangzhou in November of 2025, under the theme of a single word, emergence, XPeng pulled back a curtain and showed the world something that the internet spent the next 48 hours arguing was not real. The iron humanoid robot walked onto the stage, not shuffled, not stumbled, walked with a fluid, feline gait that made the audience genuinely uncertain whether a human being was hidden inside the machine. The robot moved with the grace of a fashion model, its joints articulating smoothly, its posture upright, its movement so natural that XPeng's own engineers had to unzip the robot's artificial mesh skin on camera to prove to the world that there was no person inside. He Xiaopeng watched from behind a curtain and then posted on social media with characteristic understatement. Our robotics team is both thrilled and exasperated. Some people just can't believe how fast the world is evolving. The specifications of iron are not incremental. They are a statement. The robot stands 178 centimeters tall. It carries 82 degrees of freedom across its body, including a biomimetic spine modeled on human anatomy and artificial muscles, designed to replicate human movement at the mechanical level. Its hands alone contain 22 degrees of freedom, built using the world's smallest harmonic joints, capable of one-to-one human hand-level precision. The robot's brain is powered by 3 of XPeng's own custom Turing AI chips, delivering 3,000 TOPS of combined computing power, and it runs on an all-solid-state battery, delivering more than 500 watt-hours per kilogram, double the energy density of the battery inside Tesla's Optimus, in the same physical footprint. XPeng announced that Iron would enter mass production by the end of 2026 sparse, initially deployed in museums, car dealerships, and shopping centers across China. But the ambition behind the technology is not commercial. It is civilizational. He Xiaopeng is not building a robot that replaces a security guard. He is building the physical body of artificial intelligence, a machine that can see, think, move, and interact with the physical world using the same AI architecture that steers his cars, navigates his flying vehicles, and processes the driving data of hundreds of thousands of vehicles, delivering real-world intelligence back to the system every single day. Elon Musk has Tesla Optimus, He Xiaopeng has Iron, and a data advantage that no factory simulation can replicate. Toyota's executives are watching. Mercedes is watching. Porsche is watching. Every automotive giant that once believed the future of the automobile would be decided in Stuttgart, in Munich, in Detroit, or in Nagoya, is now watching one man stand on a stage in the heart of Germany and tell their industry, calmly and without apology, to study its own failures. He Xiaopeng is 48 years old. He has built 2 companies from nothing and sold one to China's most powerful internet corporation in the biggest deal the Chinese internet had ever seen. He survived a 90% stock collapse that would have ended most founders permanently, rebuilt from the wreckage with discipline and humility, and emerged with a product that delivered 175,000 units in a single year. He convinced Volkswagen, one of the most conservative, institution-bound automotive companies in European history, to write a $700 million check into his vision. He opened a research and development center in Munich, while simultaneously planning a European factory. He launched a flying car at the Consumer Electronics Show, received type certification for mass production, and built the world's first modern flying car assembly line before most competitors had finished drawing their blueprints. He unveiled a humanoid robot so lifelike that the internet refused to believe it was a machine, and then scheduled it for mass production within the year. And he is not finished. He has predicted that only 7 Chinese car brands will survive the decade. He has positioned XPeng as one of them. He has committed personally to leading the robotics division of a company that is simultaneously building electric vehicles, flying cars, humanoid robots, a robo-taxi platform, and an autonomous driving system that operates in 60 countries without high-definition maps. He has said, on record, publicly, with the full weight of a man who has been right before, that half of all XPeng sales will come from outside China within the next 10 years. The boy from Huangshi is not building a car company. He never was. He is building a mobility empire for the age of artificial intelligence, one that drives on the ground, flies through the sky, walks on 2 legs, and thinks for itself at every altitude. While Toyota perfects the combustion engine and Mercedes adds more leather to its dashboards, He Xiaopeng is drawing a map of the future that the Western automotive industry does not yet have the vocabulary to read, and they never saw it coming. What do you think? Is He Xiaopeng the most dangerous man in the global auto industry right now? Drop your answer in the comments below. And if this documentary hit different, you already know what to do. Subscribe, bell, all of it. See you in the next one.